Disclaimer. All views expressed on What Makes Us Fire are solely those of the person or persons giving them. What Makes Us Fire does not represent or claim to represent any particular city or fire department, and therefore make the claim that all views and standpoints are affiliated with What Makes Us Fire and with What Makes Us Fire only. Any mention of certain fire departments or cities within the interviews are solely for informational and opinion-based dialogue. In short, if you have a problem with what's published, just say something about it and don't be a Richard.
What is up, everybody from What Makes Us Fire? How you doing? It is Josh, host of What Makes Us Fire podcast, founder of What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation. Today I have a pretty awesome guest. He is more of a brother to me at sometimes than even my actual brothers are. I've known him for 20 plus years. He is a board member of the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation, and he actually owns his own barbecue trailer business. He likes to play with meat. So, and of course, we were supposed to walk in the frame at the same time, but just classic life, he forgot to do something, and so he had to go do it. Chris, man, come on in, bro. By the way, we're at Chris's, we're in his backyard, and he thought it'd be a good idea to record the episode in front of a campfire outside, drinking some whiskey, and I said, fuck yeah, it sounds like a really good idea. So
sorry, I forgot to lock the chickens up
again. So what's really weird. Okay, so I did all the interviews and everything. I turned it on. We're done with that. But I want to kind of talk some history on how we know each other, because I kind of know your childhood, right?
a little bit.
Basically
Scarily.
from 13, 14 years old. And before that is basically the same thing, except I wasn't there when you were a ballerina, and we'll get into that.
Touche, dickhead.
But it was really weird. We met playing football in high school, and we couldn't be more opposite, really, when it came to things that we liked and did. Right? This dude.
One was fishnet. One was far from fishnet.
Yeah, I did wear some fishnet in high school. I did wear some fishnet shirts in high school. Had long hair, had the piercings, and all that other stuff. And this guy over here was the country boy, redneck, didn't want to do a damn thing.
Hey, I skated a bit.
Oh, we both skated.
Yeah,
we both skated. Not skateboarding, inline blading. But it was aggressive inline blading. So for all you skaters out there that are skateboarders, fuck you. It used to get in our way all the time when we went to Southside Skate Park.
Yeah. That place.
Right. Okay, so I've been wanting to get you on the show since I started the podcast.
Yeah. Busy lives.
Which has been almost 2 years.
It has been a challenge.
You would think you being my brother
should have been the first one.
Probably.
I'm sorry.
Probably. But I did. No, you were out of the Navy at that time.
But hey, now we got some better stories over the past 2 years to share.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of change.
A lot.
So,
yeah, you getting married.
Take that as a positive.
Me getting a divorce. We'll also take that as a positive.
Yeah. Yeah. It had its good times and its bad times.
It had its good times and bad times, and like I won't talk bad about her in any stretch of the imagination. I really wish her and I could be friends, but it is what it is. But anyway, the show is about mental health and how we dealt with it. And I know I've been there through your times in need, and you've been there for my times in need. As a matter of fact, you were very instrumental in my latest breakdown. You helped out big time with that, and but I've been
glad we made through it.
Yeah, we made it through it. Of course, we made it through it. But I think that says something about the people that you have around you.
Yeah, your inner circle is invaluable, and picking and choosing who you allow in that inner circle is equally as important. is having the inner circle.
I think, yeah, it's that whole quality, not quantity type thing.
Yep.
My quantity is very, very, very small. I mean, it's like
Likewise.
you, Josh, was Ari, Chewy,
Yeah.
and I think that was basically like the closest. If it wasn't family, you guys were like right there. You know that saying, sometimes blood's not thicker than water. Like those, you guys are like that.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you find people that you can share everything with and know that no matter what, we got your back.
We may call you an idiot, but there's no judgment passed.
Oh no, there's judgment.
Yeah.
But we're still going to support.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we both done some pretty stupid shit.
Yeah.
You.
I mean, we were obviously both married and divorced.
We were both married and divorced. Yes.
Yeah, we have done some stupid shit.
Yes, we have done some stupid shit. We have done. But I mean, even when. So let's go back. Okay, most of my shows we talk about the individual and like, tell me a little bit about your history and your past. What was it like for you growing up and stuff like that? Where are you from? And I want everybody to kind of hear it from your point of view, because I can tell the story, but there's some things that you can tell. I mean, we're so close that I call your mom, your dad,
and
pops,
likewise.
and likewise. So I mean, we were so close. Your parents were buying groceries with me in mind.
Yep.
And vice versa.
Yep.
So yeah, in your words, give us a little bit of where you came from, how you grew up, all that other stuff.
So from here, League City, Texas area, grew up playing ball, played ball with this bonehead.
Yep.
Had a good childhood. Parents were really engaged, had incredible parents. They were not, however, always incredible together. So they ended up divorced later on down the road.
I remember that.
And, there were a lot of lessons that my dad and my mom were able to pass down through that were good, hard lessons, but good lessons. And then got married, ended up, found ourselves piss ass broke, and joined the Navy. So,
well, before that, you were even engaged before your first marriage.
I was engaged in college, young, dumb. Yep.
And
full of yep. There was that. And that ended with me making some very poor decisions, and ended up, had a criminal trespassing on my record, so that made a few things in life a bit of a challenge. So make good choices, kids.
Make good choices.
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember you telling me that, and I was just like, you freaking dumbass.
Yep. Yeah, so that played a toll on things in life down the road. Tried to go officer in the Marine Corps, and that was a bit of a ding on my entry, and so I enlisted in the Navy. And
it's weird how, like, that's something to talk about, though. Like, it's weird how, like, small mistakes like that, right? Well, I say small.
Yeah.
When we're young, dumb mistakes.
Yeah.
Dumb
mistakes.
Like looking back at it now, that was almost 15 years ago.
Longer than that.
Right. I forgot. We've known each other for 24 years now.
Mm-hmm.
24 years.
Anyway. That was 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Yeah, because it was right after high school. That's right. So it was like 19 years ago, 19, 20 years. Anyway, It's weird. We can look back and realize how dumb the decisions were that we were making. And those small decisions that we make, and we think they're going to be nothing later on in life, have a huge impact on things that we wish. It's like, really, this is holding me back. This thing from so long ago is holding me back. Are you kidding me?
But it paved the way for opportunities that I would not have had, because I thought I was going to go into the Marine Corps, do ground intel, and they said, obviously, good luck. And Navy recruiter said, well, hey, man, we got this job where you can jump out of helicopters, shoot guns, and do crazy shit. And I said, sign me up.
Right.
Where's the dotted line? And it didn't turn out exactly like they pitched it. Obviously, we all know how recruiters can be.
Well, yeah, their job is to make it sound better than
Yeah.
it really is.
But it was still pretty awesome. It was a lot of fun. So, got to do a lot of things that I feel like it was all for a reason. So,
let me ask you something. Like, so in high school, you and I got into a lot of shenanigans. You got into a lot of shit too. And I'm gonna bring up some stuff that we aren't too proud of when we were younger. And basically the reason why I'm gonna bring it up is because we've grown from that, right? Yeah. And we learned from it, and we became what I consider better people from it.
absolutely.
Smarter people,
Debatable.
better people, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like in high school and stuff like that, I know for a fact you and I deliberately broke the law, rules.
Rules. We'll go with rules.
We'll go with rules.
Yeah.
Deliberately broke rules, like kids shit,
Yeah.
teenage shit. Deliberately broke rules on purpose and stuff like that. Where do you think you got that from? Like, what possessed you, do you think? Because we all know those goody two-shoe kids.
It totally runs in my family, man.
It runs in your family?
There's no doubt about that. My dad was hell on wheels.
Okay.
Yeah. We are reformed hellions, though.
Reformed hellions.
Reformed hellions.
Okay.
No, my dad was wild.
So you heard stories from your dad and thought, well, might as well.
You didn't even need to hear stories. I mean, it's kind of in the blood to test the waters a little bit.
Well, and it's funny, right? Because we all know those goody two-shoe kids that, hey, let's go do this. And you're like, no, absolutely not. No, no, I will not. And then you have ones that will take it even a step farther than we did.
Yeah.
Or a few steps further than we did.
Where they're
putting not only themselves but other people in danger.
So we were just doing dumb stuff. We weren't doing anything that was going to hurt anybody other than maybe ourselves.
Definitely a lot of stuff that would have hurt ourselves.
But nothing that would put anybody else in danger or hurt anybody else. We never did anything that was damaging other people's property or...
Not intentionally, anyway.
Not intentionally. I mean, we had some accidents. But
right.
Then again, what teenage boy doesn't? I mean, that's kind of where we learn kind of some of our limitations is at that age. And
I think we test the bounds as small boys as well as we're becoming men.
Yeah.
I think that, so like for me, I got in a lot of fights. You even got
with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We fought together. We fought against each other.
Couple times.
I remember choking you one time as you were trying to step between me and somebody I wanted to destroy. Yeah. And it didn't even compute in my head until you're like, you're choking me. And I was just like, oh, wrong person.
Yeah. But I feel like that's kind of where we learn how to function in society a little bit better.
How do you mean?
If we don't test those waters, we don't really fully grasp that there are consequences for actions, and there are limits to what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do, even if it's not a law, even if it's just you probably shouldn't freaking do that because it's stupid. Like, you don't know until you try. I mean, sure, your parents tell you, but I mean, at that age, do you really listen most of the time?
No.
Yeah,
when your parents tell you not to do something, you're like, I wonder what it's going to be like if I do it.
Yeah.
And
so like, you get mouthy at that age, and you get in a little scuffle. Sure, what's the worst that happens? You come out, busted lip, busted black eye, whatever. Now you get lippy with the wrong person. At our age, you get lawsuits, you get arrested, you get, the consequences are much more severe at our age than they were, or even once you get into your 18 to 20 age.
Yeah,
right?
Your adulthood.
Yeah.
Adulthood, yeah.
Yeah, so learning that lesson when you're younger, that oh man, I mouthed off, I got popped in the jaw. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Well, sometimes we wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was like, oh no, we're gonna fight. Like, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Win or lose, I'm fighting.
Teenage boys,
Yeah.
testosterone pumping shit.
Yeah. So you think you got your rebellious just from it being hereditary?
I mean, I think some of it definitely runs a little strong in our family.
I mean, you go from
But-
a tutu wearing 6-year-old,
Yeah.
to to
I was Captain Hook.
okay. So
My mom owned a dance studio for 21 years. So
that's true. So yeah, I even danced in the studio, but I did hip hop.
yeah, I thought about going back and doing ballet when we were high schoolers, but for a completely different reason. at
Well,
that
there's
point.
a lot of football players, and me and you were really big into football.
And there
high
were a
school.
lot of very pretty girls.
a lot of very pretty girls.
Yeah,
That
you
would have
know.
been your reason.
Yeah.
I thought it was because he wanted to wear a tutu again.
Oh no,
I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
mean tight, sure. Tutu, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I made fun of you a lot because I remember in your living room, big old 8x10 picture of Chris in his tights, Captain Hook. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom was very proud of that photo.
Yeah, she was very proud of it. It was sitting right next to the bucks your dad shot,
Mm-hmm.
right in between them.
Oh yeah, those are some nice ones too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were. I remember those. I remember your house. Your house was okay. So in high school, we were like, where are we hanging out? Chris's house. Like it was always your house, right? We were always hanging out at your house.
That's primarily because of the pool.
Yeah, the pool. I think we were known very quickly as the guys that were jumping off the roof naked
Yeah.
in high school, jumping into the pool. But it was always like, the way I remember it is, if it wasn't like Fred, right? Because he was another big player in high
Yeah.
school.
Oh,
I wouldn't
Fred
say- I wouldn't
and
s-
McCoy.
And McCoy and stuff like that. Like there were some guys in high school that they were popular, known to be able to get away with some shit, and so it was kind of cool to hang out with them, go to their house and stuff like that. They had a little bit of stuff. But if it wasn't them, like it was us. Like people were hanging out with us. We were going to go party at Chris's house, or I tell my parents I'm going to hang out at your house. You tell your parents you can go hang out at my house.
We were at all kinds of
And
places.
we were at all kinds of places. We'd end up sleeping in the car. We've done that. We did that a couple times.
times.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I'm just wondering, like, where did we learn that from?
I mean, I feel like it comes naturally.
Like, it came naturally.
It's still to this day at times, except now.
Well,
it's-
yeah, with the kids and everything.
Yeah, it's on the other end of the table. I'm watching
Riley's getting there.
Yeah, she's 14 now, and yeah, her little attitude every now and then test waters, but she's a good kid, man. I really don't have to worry about her too much.
Riley's always been a good kid. Very,
She has.
very yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Very
Yeah.
respectful.
I've been very fortunate.
Yes.
Very.
Kenzie was a little bit of the wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was a little one testing the
Still.
waters.
She's become a little more timid right now. She's in her preteens. Savannah's following suit.
Is she?
Oh,
Man, you got 3 girls and 1 boy as stepson now.
yeah.
That is a lot of estrogen.
It is a whole lot of estrogen. A whole lot. Yeah, all of our dogs are girls too.
Jesus.
I know. Hey, at least
Are you sure you don't have a vagina between your legs right now?
At least both of our horses are dudes.
That's true.
They've been fixed too, though.
Oh, I've been fixed.
I know, me too.
I know, me too.
One of the best decisions I made.
So, do you ever remember in high school having any type of emotional or mental health? I mean, back then we weren't aware of it, right? We didn't know
Yeah.
what it was. It wasn't as popular to talk about. But like, I remember one specific time in my senior year of high school. I don't know if you remember. Remember Ryan? Like, him and I were
Yeah.
gonna fight, and I was just tired of being picked on, and I just went off yelling. I was just like, you want to know how much I've been thinking about offing myself, this and that, this. Just being really loud about it and screaming, and everybody just watching me just like in horror.
Yeah.
Because they're like, holy crap, we had no idea. And I was just like, yeah. And now at that time, I had no idea really what it all meant.
Yeah.
Did you ever go through something similar or something like that?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we had some tense times around the house, and there were times where mine came out a lot more as aggression, and I mean, a lot of times it was, more self-destructive than anything. I mean, I'd hole in the wall, shatter a bat on the tree in the front yard, like a lot of aggression, and that's where, for me, football and weight training really came in. And if it hadn't been for some of the coaches I had during that point in time in my life, I would not have handled it as well as I did. Not that I handled it well at all, but on the flip side, it could have been a whole lot worse had there not been any kind of guidance and intervention. And they really helped me direct that to a more positive way
Of letting it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, I ask because I know, right?
Yeah.
But I want to hear it from your point of view. And there's probably going to be stuff that we've talked about before, but probably not as in depth. Right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of like one of those things that, like, I knew that growing up, with you and your family, without spilling all the details and everything, that there were some rough times, and your reaction to them was sometimes to be violent.
Yeah.
Right. Not necessarily towards anybody specifically, but just be violent, like like you said, holes in the walls, bloody knuckles because you were punching a tree or something,
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I looking back on it now, had we known what it was back then, we probably would have been able to take care of it a lot better, and probably wouldn't have ran into some of the issues. Ran into some of the issues we did later on in life.
Yeah, much better.
But
yeah.
But it's weird when we look back in retrospect, right? We always say hindsight's 20/20.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you say hindsight's 20/20 when back then mental health talk was like, you don't do that?
Yeah.
Nobody did. And if you did, like,
you were weak.
You were weak, right? Like, or like, oh, they're sad. Just tell them to be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really not that hard. All right, just think about happy things. Just think about doing this. Just think about doing that. It's just like, well, we know now it doesn't work that way because I had that mindset, right?
Yep.
I think a lot of us did, where we had somebody or knew somebody that was either sad or depressed or whatever, and we'd just be like, I don't buy this bullshit that they can't handle their depression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't buy it. Right? Like, I go through hard shit and I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize was my okay was self-destructive behavior.
Yes. Now I still hold some of the mindset of suck it up, buttercup.
Mm-hmm.
But not the way that it was at that point. Now it's more of a, express what you're feeling, talk it out. But then you gotta, at some point, you have to kind of, all right, man,
buckle up those bootstraps and start taking care of yourself.
Yeah, do something about it.
Right.
Stop just bitching about it. Do something about it.
Take your time to bitch.
Yeah.
Take your time to bitch. Because that's a healthy process, right? It's a healthy process in dealing with it. You have to be able to bitch about it.
But you can't get stuck in it.
No. Well, it's that whole, it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to stay there.
Yes.
If you make the decision to stay not being okay, then you run the risk of not allowing yourself to grow from whatever it is you're going through. Yeah. And you're allowing whatever it is you're going through to control you.
Struggles are good. We're supposed to go through struggles.
That's how you grow.
Yeah. But the way that you choose to allow yourself to sit in that struggle is really kind of what defines pretty much the rest of the path of that. You know, you're never going to come out on the other side if you don't choose to come out on the other side. It's not just going to happen.
Right.
It's not magic.
See, that's a weird thing though. When you talk about stuff like that, where's that whiskey?
Yours is on the other.
No, I want some of yours. That's the thing though, right? Like, I don't know who expects to just be okay after everything, right? Like, you go through it and then you're just like, ah, you bitch about it, and then you're expecting for it to be okay, yeah, at some point without doing anything. I don't think it works that way.
No.
But in the past, I mean, that's kind of like how people dealt with it.
Yeah.
You just let it be. Sooner or later, something else is going to come along, and you're just not going to worry about it anymore. Hopefully, that something else that comes along is good, but something else is coming along.
Sometimes everything is bad, and then you're just in a real bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's weird. You and I have had these talks before, but I don't think as in depth. And usually it's because one or the other is going through shit.
Yeah.
I want to bring up something that, we talked about a little bit earlier, and the whole anger aggression thing, right? Do you think had you had better help dealing with your anger and aggression at a younger age, that outcome would have been different?
I don't know if the outcome would have been different, but I think it would have. I don't think the overall outcome would have been different. I do think that the outcome would have been different in the sense that it would not have ended the way that it did.
Like, it wouldn't have escalated to that point.
Right.
Let me ask this: what would help? What would have helped look like to you back then?
Man, honestly, I don't know. I mean, I really don't, because at that point in time, I mean, we were in a very different mind frame, and we were so young still that, even though I had the coaches rallying around me and everything, and, like I said, both of my parents were very engaging, just good parents. Sometimes it just, no matter what, you don't want to hear it. And I don't know if it was that I didn't want to hear it, or that I didn't feel as though the help was going to do anything. I think mindset is a lot of it.
So do you think? So you're saying, like, even if you did have some help, your mindset was kind of stuck in its ways, and that even if you did get help, you probably just would have brushed it off.
Been angry.
You would have probably gotten angry.
Still been angry. Like, really, I mean, truthfully, I think I was just in an angry mindset and just pissed off at the world.
So do you think, why were you pissed off at the world?
Stuff going on at the house, and then...
when you say stuff going on in the house, like parent stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Parent
stuff, yeah.
And so, I was pissed off, and I think that really probably the only thing that could have snapped me out of it would have been to have been able to be self-aware enough to step away from the situation and know, okay, my time, I need to leave whatever the situation is, go on down the road, hang out at the park, go shoot shit with a buddy, come back home.
Right.
But instead, I would sit there and try to fix whatever it was, and then it just dug a hole.
So you have that mindset now, right? So you have this idea now of what you would have done, probably would do if that similar situation came along. what do you think it was maturity that got you that point, or do you think it was getting some help of some sort?
I think a combination of people who have been put in my life to when I was going through my divorce who have made those observations and maturity combined between the two of them. Now it kind of all just kind of started to make a little sense. Like, okay, I have a fixing problem. Can't freaking fix everything. Sometimes you just gotta step away and get the hell out of the situation and come back later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do just gotta step away.
Yeah.
It sounds like as a kid, it sounds like no matter what would have happened, we were kids.
Yeah.
And so no matter what you would have told us, what advice you would have given, no matter whatever type of counseling, we were set in our ways.
Yeah.
We are those teenagers that thought we knew the world.
Yeah.
Right? Those kids that thought we knew how the world worked, thought we knew how life worked. And really all we knew is how our world worked. Yes. And how our life worked. Yep. And we expected the rest of the world to kind of conform to that.
Yeah.
And it never did.
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel like I try now with my kids to, like, if they get in trouble, you sit down and you explain why. You explain what caused it, how it can be fixed, and there's explanation of both sides. Whereas I feel like when we were kids, you got in trouble, that was it. You got your butt popped, you got grounded, whatever it was.
There was no explanation as to why you got in trouble. You just were in trouble.
Or how to fix it.
Right. No, there was definitely no how to. No. This is how we're going to fix it. You're going to get a fucking whooping. And
exactly.
And now it's fixed. Don't fucking do it again.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, which I do think there's a place for popping the butt.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not saying beat your kids, but
no,
there's definitely a place and time for a good swat on the ass.
Yeah.
And
spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yep. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Exactly.
But there has to be the flip side where you help coach them into maturing and making the better decisions so that once they are starting to reach those teenage years, they have maybe more of a solid foundation on the middle side of it. Yeah.
That is something interesting. Like, it's weird how we use what we experienced and trying to distill that to our kids, to our offspring.
Yeah.
And sometimes we still question whether or not we're doing it right.
Every day. Every damn day.
I never. So you know my situation, right? My
yep.
kids are pissed off at me because I had to leave the house for my mental health. They didn't understand why I had to leave the house. They think I left them, and no, yep. I didn't leave them. I just left so I can get better. So they didn't have to have a dad who was suicidal, yep. And I didn't want to be that dad around them.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that, right? So
they will eventually.
I hope so, but in any case, it's like I still try to talk to them and let them know, hey, I'm here. I have learned through what I've gone through. I want to be there for you guys and stuff like that. But I'm not sure I'm doing it right.
Yeah. I will never know.
And we'll never know.
I'll never know. Yeah.
When after high school and playing football, you went to college for, I can never say it right, kinesiology. Whatever. Kinesiology. Yep. Basically, sports medicine.
Yeah.
And you are not in sports medicine.
No, I did for a while, though. I did train for a while.
For like a year?
I did for
like a year or two?
About 3 years.
Really? 2 years. Oh, yeah.
Almost 3 years. And then I did some on the side while I was in the Navy. I mean, I pretty well did it through the entire time I was in on the side. I would usually have one person. I just work with one person. But
what made you want to get into that?
Well, I started off bio pre-med, and
Why bio pre-med?
I want to be a pediatrician.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's
I wanted to be
right.
a pediatrician, and realized about a year and a half in that this is a lot of school, and I am not up for this much school. that was not for me, and I'm not designed for an office. I just am not made. I'm not wired that way. I can't sit in an office all day and stare at a computer screen, crunch numbers, even seeing patients inside of an. I have to be outside.
Right.
If I'm not out doing, I can't function that way. Yeah.
It's weird, right? Like there's some people that love the office job,
Yeah.
and there's people that are like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I cannot. Like me, I can't do an office job. Well, I can do an office job. I would just be miserable.
Oh, my dad tried to get me in the office all the time. I couldn't, and luckily he was aware of, kind of who I was enough that he was able to pretty quickly say, look, I get it. That's not you. Here's how we work around that and make it work. And so I spent the time in the field. He worked the office.
Well, we're gonna get into that because
we'll get there too.
Yeah, that brought on a whole nother slew of
life altering
decisions.
Yeah,
and things that happened.
Everything happens for a reason. It does. And the experiences we have, we don't realize the way they're going to impact us down the road.
No, we have no idea.
Good. It's for the good. Mostly for the good.
Sure.
I could probably have a lot more money than I have right now.
I think all of us could have a lot more money than we have right now. Oh, big log now. So you went to college for sports medicine. You did it for a little while, right? And you were no longer with the first fiance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And then I met
Ashley,
my ex-wife.
Ashley, your ex-wife. Did you just break the chair?
I'm fat. I went into the mud.
Did you break the chair? Or did it just sink?
I sank the leg.
Oh, it just sank. Oh, okay.
Sorry, guys. Tubby had too many tortillas for dinner. So
it reminds me of what happened when we were at the cook-off.
Dude. That chair totally busted out from
You destroyed that chair.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I almost got impaled in the booty hole.
You did almost get impaled in the booty hole, which wouldn't have been the first time, seeing as you were in the Navy.
I mean, it's not gay if it's underway, man. Come on now. Everybody know that.
Oh man.
Yeah. No. So yeah,
you
met
did sports
Ashley.
medicine. Met Ashley and
working at the gym.
Now this brings me into a part of our lives that we shared together that I think affected us pretty heavily. It was when our brother Ari passed away.
Yes.
Way
too early.
Way too early in life. And
I actually just had a talk with my daughter about that last night.
Really?
Yeah, with Riley. She's reaching that age. She asks questions, and
you brought him up.
Funny enough, 20-year reunion.
Facebook
page, and so Ashley and I were talking at cheer practice, and she was showing. And I was in some of the pictures, and Chewy was in it, and so, of course, that brought mixed emotions. Happy to see his picture and his smiling face, but at the same time, it sucks it's not here. But so she started asking kind of what happened. So I was just honest with her. I mean, there's no reason to hide it, and she's getting tempted with stuff. And rather her know the way it can go now than, her try to figure it out on her own.
Right.
So,
I mean, so it was crazy what happened. I remember I was working like a graveyard shift, and I was asleep at home midday or early morning. Like I just got home from work, and I was asleep, and Melinda came in, and she's like, "Josh, Chelsea's on the phone. You need to talk to her." I was like, "Chelsea? Like your sister?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Chelsea?" She's like, "Yeah, you need to talk to her." And the first thing in my head is, what the fuck happened to Chris?
Yeah.
That's the first thing in my head, right? But it ends up being because we were working at Ari's dad's place at the tanning salon at the time.
Yeah.
And just so happened she was calling from the tanning place because she was told what happened with Ari, that they found him unconscious and deceased in his home. And I remember just being like, "Does Chris know?" "No, we haven't been able to get a hold of him." And so you were the first person I called after that.
Yeah, I was working
and
at the gym.
You were working at the gym at that time.
Yeah. I had been with a client and did not have my cell phone on me, which is the only reason I had not received phone calls.
Right. And I remember finally got a hold of you. I said, "Ari's gone."
Yeah.
And you're like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, like, Ari's dead. Chewy's dead, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know what's happening." And I remember you left work early. I went and picked you up. I picked you up from work. And we went straight to Josh's house because Josh was actually able to go to Chewy's house, and he wasn't able to go inside or anything, but
he was there as he was escorted out.
Yes, he was escorted out.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, for people to understand, like the brotherhood we had. I mean, it was me, you, Chewy, Josh, pretty much all the damn time. And then we had our other.
Chewy had been living with me up until a week prior to that.
Right. And with him, they ruled it as an accidental suicide.
Yeah.
And by that they mean that it was like an accidental overdose. He was sad. He was taking too many things that he shouldn't have been taking, and
drinking on
top of it. We don't believe that he was intending on harming himself. We were thinking that he was just trying to forget for the night, or something like that. Just being sad, upset.
And he had his bouts at rehab and stomach pump, and
right. He dealt with a lot of demons.
He did,
and that's a whole nother story. But what I wanted to talk to you about is, like, for me, when I found out, I was just angry.
Yeah,
just very, very angry. I was angry that he didn't call one of us. I was angry that he was taken from us. I was angry that I didn't get to say goodbye. I was angry that one of the last things that I talked to him about was scolding him for his drug use, scolding him. I scolded you and him a few times for that.
Yes.
But I was lucky enough to start a career a little bit before you guys, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was just like, look, guys, you can get where I'm at. Just need to stop doing this stupid shit, blah 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 blah. And I was trying to be a big brother to brothers that are all my age.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I to me, it was a life-changing moment because I never experienced losing somebody so close to me before in my life.
I had, but at the age that he was and the way that it happened, it's completely different. Losing somebody to an illness versus losing somebody to something like that, where it's, done. It's very different. And
How do you think that affected you?
I mean, it definitely changed my trajectory in life because I had quit doing most of the dumb shit I was doing, but I was still, occasionally dabbling with stuff, and that was it.
When you say stuff, pills, right?
Mostly pills, yeah, and that was it. At that point, it was done, and at one point it was, it was nothing to take a handful of Vicodin and or oxys, and it just was what it was, and
Right.
but once that happened, that wasn't even a thought. I mean, it was, yeah.
Do you think that had that not happened, you probably wouldn't have stopped?
No, I was already headed that direction. It just sped up the process.
Well, because we all know how addictive oxycodone can be.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
um,
I was already headed out, though. I mean, it had been a while since I had touched anything before that happened. So I was already pretty set that I'm not going to, but the temptation was still there. Like, if it was presented, who knows?
Right.
But once that happened, the temptation was completely gone. I mean, it didn't matter, if you were trying to force feed it to me, it wasn't going to happen. Good luck, I'll bite your finger off. But, yeah. And I had started working at a gym that, I considered to have been a career possibility because of management positions and the affiliation that they were with, the financial backing that they had or whatever, the owners. They're a very large group that own a lot of stuff in this area. The Moody's.
Yeah.
So they own a lot. And so, the career possibilities are there. Right. And so I had made the decision that, look, I've got to stop doing what I'm doing. And then when that happened, that just solidified everything. It was done.
Why do you think that was the mindset after what happened? Like, was it because you didn't want what happened to him happen to you, or was it kind of like what was it about what happened with Chewy that made you kind of just
honestly
say, you know what, fuck it, no, I'm not going to do it anymore?
I don't know.
Do you think maybe a little bit was like you didn't want that to happen to you?
I'm sure a lot of it was, yeah. But there's also the side of I'm not living my life right. And I mean, my life changed a lot. And, one of our first visits after that was we went to the church. And I know that seems...
No, that was one of the
but
first
that was
places
one of the
we
first
went.
places
We went to the Catholic church just down the street.
Yep. And I had already, several years prior said, I want to do right. I want to live my life by God and do right. And then I just kind of fell off in college, and I went down a road I should have never gone down, but I did. And then, that was a major eye-opening moment, and it absolutely changed the way I viewed a lot of stuff in life. And, I did. I redevoted that. Look, I'm going to do right, and not that I'm not going to make mistakes, but that I want to try to live my life the way that I'm instructed to do by the Bible. And
yeah, I remember going to that church, and I remember being so pissed off. I walked up to Jesus and punched him in the foot.
Yeah.
You remember
that? Yeah.
Like, I threw a punch and damn near broke my
but hey,
knuckles.
he can take it.
Yeah. I think he knew that why.
Yeah.
And if he was here, he'd probably allow me to and let me.
Yeah.
He'd probably be like, I'm your punching bag.
Yeah.
Let it out.
I do that.
I think for me, after it happened, and I didn't realize it then, because I was still dealing with a lot of my own stuff. I think for me, I had a bunch of mixed emotions.
Yeah.
I was angry at Ari, but not just because he left and because of what happened, but I almost thought it wasn't fair.
Yeah.
Like he's able to do this thing, whether it was on accident or not, but I have to stick around. I got to live through this, right? Like, why can't I? And so, like, that was one of those things that was in my head. I was upset. I was even, I guess I want to say jealous, right? Because I was like, you get to go and be in heaven, and you don't have to deal with all this shit anymore. And even though it was an accident, you stupid motherfucker, like, like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't know, man. Like, again, I was young at that time too,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what was going on in my head. I didn't realize that was a depressed mind trying to take in everything that happened.
Yeah,
but I think
we were what, 23?
yeah, we were young. We were very young. It happened literally like 6 months before I got hired on the fire department.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy what happened. But that's one of the big things I wanted to talk about it with you, because it's one of the biggest things that you and I have gone through together.
Yeah.
We've gone through a lot of shit together.
I feel like it was a turning point for a lot of us. Not, just within that core 4 people, but there were, there were a handful of us that it was really a major turning point for. And yeah, I think it may impact on a lot more people than we'll ever realize.
Oh yeah, I definitely will. I guess I wanted to get your point of view, more to kind of see how you, because a lot of people get put into a depressed episode or depressed situation when they lose somebody close to them.
Yeah.
Right, and it's hard sometimes for them to get themselves out of it. And for us, I think or at least for me, the way I got out of it was time.
Mm-hmm.
It was just time. Time had to pass. Life had to continue to go on. I ended up having my son afterwards. You ended up having Riley, and it was just once a little bit of time, and it wasn't even all that long. Just a little bit of time, just started moving. It was okay. Now it's no longer what happened, but who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no longer the story about him now is no longer about what happened or how he left or that he's even gone.
Yeah.
It was who he was, and all the good times and that damn freaking smile and his losing air laugh.
He had a
Dan Trans Am
chuckle and a smile that could light up the room. He had a presence about him that could never be duplicated.
Never be duplicated. Never. I appreciate you talking to me about that. I know we've talked about it before. And it's actually been a long time since we've actually gotten in depth about it.
It has.
But
we used to have a drink every year for it.
Yeah. Well,
what was it? I think the last one we did, I was deployed.
Yep.
Yeah, I called everybody. Got on the phone. We did a group call. We couldn't FaceTime. We couldn't. I still had a flip phone.
Yes, we all have.
Actually, I lie. I had a burner. I didn't even have a phone. I had, when you were down there, you bought a burner and you bought a SIM card. That was it. And then, so it wasn't even the quality of a Nokia brick, to be honest. Like, that thing was hot garbage. But the purpose was make a phone call. That was it. So, but yeah, I called y'all on that, and I think y'all ended up coordinating to make it a group call because I couldn't even do that from that phone.
Yeah.
It wasn't even capability of that phone to do a conference call. So y'all got it was bright pink too. I brought it back for my daughter when I got back. But yeah, I picked it on purpose actually.
That's
but they
right. Yeah, we did it. We did a group call and we all had a shot for them.
yeah, that was the last time.
We need to start doing that again.
We do.
We need to start doing that again.
We need to hit pause. Or let me just step out.
Okay.
The perk of having a big place where nobody can see baby bladder.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to pee. He let the right off screen too. You're going to be able to hear it, I'm sure. I don't know. We're about to find out. When I go back to edit this. No, I'm gonna leave it in. Pee break. It is what it is. God damn it! Now I gotta pee. Okay.
So where were we?
Oh yeah. So like I said, I appreciate you talking about that with me. And like I said, I know it's been a while since we've really dug into our shit. It's been 14 years almost, 15 years.
This year will be 15.
15 years this year, yep.
August.
Yep, August 23rd.
Yep.
Anyway, moving forward after that, and it was shortly after that, actually, you joined the Navy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, broke.
Well,
baby,
you were broke,
wife,
baby. Well, no, not wife, not just yet.
No, we were married. We got married while she was pregnant.
That's right. Well, Melinda was at the wedding. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Or the reception.
The reception.
Yeah. Because I was in fucking Arkansas working.
Yeah.
But why? Other than, was that the only reason to go into the military? Was because you were broke?
No, I wanted to go in when we were in high school, and my mom had kind of talked me out of it. Said no, don't do that just yet. She didn't say don't do it. She said don't do it just yet. And that's one thing. My mom, she was always very supportive, but she always wanted you to really think about it first. She didn't want you to jump into anything. And so I did it. I went to college, did that. Had a buddy in college.
Pediatrician.
Yeah. Had a buddy in college, JR, man. Super cool dude. His dad and his grandpa were both helicopter pilots. And his dad was stationed in Peru with FBI or CIA. But anyways, so he was in Peru for a long time. So JR was always telling me stuff, and he ended up going OCS, Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. And so he would go to training during the summers and then school during the school year. And we stayed good friends for a long time after. And so then when his college was up, he went into the Marine Corps and as an officer. He was like, man, you should do this. I know you've been wanting to do it. If you're going to do it like this. You go in as an officer. And I was like, yeah. First fiance. She was not as keen on me being in the military. So, didn't do it. And put it off. And then ended up, like we said, made a stupid choice. Then I get out. And then Ashley, my ex-wife, she was real supportive of the idea. She said, hey, whenever you want to do it, do it. And so I made the choice before we went broke that I wanted to go in Marine Corps OCS.
See, and this is where it's bothering me, right? Because you never fucking told me until it was already done.
I know.
You didn't tell anybody until it was already done.
I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want anybody to have any input on my decision.
You know I wouldn't have said. I probably
I
would have
know.
fucking joined you.
Well, it wasn't so much that either. I wanted to figure out the route I wanted to take, the way I wanted to take it. And I wanted to figure it out on my own.
Fair enough.
And I knew that if I brought anybody else into it, it's either going to be they're going to talk me out, or they're going to be going gung-ho. Who the hell are we shooting? And so,
Which would have been me. It probably would have been me. Had you told me, I would have been like, yeah, fuck this firefighting thing, dude. Let's go.
Yeah. So I was like, no, I'm going to make this decision the way that, I feel I'm led to make it. And so I put in my OCS packet. I put in 2. Actually, the second time I was on, I may have done 3. But anyways, last time I did it, I was on standby. And the guy I was on standby behind was a freaking phenom. I mean, dude was... PT scores, we were right there neck to neck. But he was a double major at UT Austin with a 4.0 GPA. I was not that student. I was far from that student.
Yeah.
So
no.
My between my GPA and then the waivers I had to have, I ended up on standby right behind him though. And I had my fingers crossed like, come on boy, drop. You know you don't want to go through with it. You're too smart for this. But he did. He went through with it. Good for him. But and we decided it was time that, if this was something I really wanted to do, and I really wanted to join the military, I needed to just enlist. And so I talked to a handful of recruiters and all, and I talked to people who had been in, and family members and stuff who were in. I ain't told them what I was doing, but I just talked to them. Mm-hmm. And I just listened to what they had to say. And when the recruiter told me, you shoot guns, jump out of the back of a helicopter, and that pretty much sold it for me because I'm an adrenaline junkie. So I was like, okay, sounds awesome. And little did I know you only did that a handful of times a year, but still, at least I got to do it a handful of times a year. I had a blast.
So what was your MOS?
I was rescue swimmer, air crew.
Say that again?
Rescue swimmer, air crew.
Okay, because when you first said it, you said rescue swimmer, air crew.
I know. I spoke on Behagen for a second.
You did. So, okay. For everyone who doesn't know, Umbe, let's just say my kids call him Uncle Dumby. Uncle Dumby.
Yeah, we have our own language.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
But that came from Althea. That came from my daughter.
It did. She was 2 or 3 when she came up with that one.
Yeah, she was 2 or 3 years old. Yeah. And I said, that's Uncle Umbe. And she goes, Uncle Dumby? I was like, nope, that's it. Uncle Dumby, you got it.
And it's stuck.
Okay, so when you were in, right, and it's weird, right, because we talked a little bit while you were enlisted and while you were working in the Navy. It was about that time that we kind of grew apart a little bit. And I say grew apart. I wouldn't even say grow apart. I say we kind of went and did our own thing. Yeah. For a little bit, right?
I'd say a lot of it was distance and just we were both building a family.
We were both building families.
Careers.
And
we talked when we could. It just wasn't all the time.
It wasn't all the time. Not like it was before.
Yeah.
And not like it is now. We talk a hell of a lot more now than we did before in the past, too. But it was, it was a time where, a lot of the stuff that was going on in your life and stuff that was going on in my life, we weren't sharing as much as we did before. And it was interesting to hear some of the stories that was from you about how your life was going while you were in the Navy. Now, the Navy itself, you weren't having any issue, really. But your family life was taking one hell of a hit.
Yeah.
Do you think the military had something to do with that?
I think some. I think also the path that I wanted to take in life was just different. And
how so?
I wasn't looking to party and everything anymore. Like I still want to go have a good time. Don't get me wrong. I still wanted to go to the bar, dance, hang out, have drinks. But I wasn't looking to do it every week. And I wasn't looking to do it, on a regular basis even. It
Right.
was just not with the kids. I wanted my focus to be on being with the kids and to a fault. Honestly, I mean, you still have to make time for dating your spouse.
You have to make time for yourself and your spouse.
You
and
do.
everything. For your relationship. Yeah.
You do. And we were not doing well financially even after joining the Navy. We had our own place, which was better than we had been. But I mean, we were struggling bad. I mean, we were in Florida, we were doing good. And then when we got transferred to California, we did not make the transition well. And
Do you think it's because it was California?
the cost of living was significant. And I was still very low rank.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't work. She stayed home. And there was a lot of financial struggles that came along with that, but childcare was so expensive that most of the jobs that she was qualified for paid her less than what childcare cost. So, in looking back, obviously there's things we could have done differently financially that would have set us up very differently, but we didn't. And
You live
like
and
you
you
said,
learn.
hide inside.
Right.
Yeah,
You live and you learn.
you live and you learn. And so some of those stressors played a big toll on our marriage. And and then I was so focused on being there for the kids that I lost sight of the fact that you still need to go date. You still, even if it's just go on a drive, have a babysitter for a couple hours, drive down to the lake, whatever, just get away. And yeah.
So do you think that played into a little bit of the depression that you got into? Because you did go into a depression. I remember you calling me.
That was while I was on deployment.
Right.
And when I got back, and that was very different from that. That was, go on deployment. Your wife says, "Well, I may not be there when you get back. Best of luck to you."
So that's something to talk about, because there's a lot of military individuals, a lot of military men and women that get those Dear John letters, right?
Oh yeah.
Or Dear Jane letters, and it's those letters. How do you continue to operate with those type of phone calls and those type of letters while you're deployed?
You learn to compartmentalize. And honestly, there were days where I did not compartmentalize well. But I did have a very good air boss. I won't say his name, but he was, not only was he a man who was very strong in his faith, but he was a very open individual. He didn't bat an eye to share and tell and just be there for you. He was incredible. And he brought me a devotional, and he said, "Look, I know you're going through a lot. You don't have to tell me everything. If you want to tell me, come tell me. If not, whatever. I want you to read this every day." And yes, sir. And he pulled me aside a couple times. We would have talks, and he would pray with me, and I mean that was a big part of it. And then I had two other pilots who were instrumental, and in fact one of them is from just down the road here, out by Kima area. So, yeah, really cool dude. But and the other one's from out by Oakland. But so
Opposite ends of the spectrum.
But man, they could not have fit better together, man. But they, no, they definitely, they helped a lot. And then I think just the people that surrounded me were top notch. I got a buddy Ken that I was deployed with, who he was going through his own. So there were 3 of us on deployment. The 3 of us went to deployment married. Came back, and within the first year of being back, all 3 of us were divorced.
Oh man!
Yeah, all 3 of us, man.
Damn.
Me, Ken, and Evan. In fact, Evan came back to having no place to live, and all his shit was gone.
Oh wow,
dude! Evan got screwed, man.
So, do you think having others that were kind of going through a similar situation helped?
It helped a lot because we could just vent to each other. And you got it. I mean,
so let me ask you this then: do you think like nobody likes the term group therapy, right? Or group counseling?
Yeah,
that term kind of, when you hear it, kind of turns you off, especially if you're like the type A personality type.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, you're type A personality type. Fuck you, I'm not going to sit in a circle and tell everybody else my feelings. No.
But it was whether we thought it was or not.
Right, but it was, right?
It was.
That's exactly what it was. It was group counseling. You were hearing each other's circumstances and things that you guys were going through, and it helped because it let you know that you weren't alone in the situation that you were in.
We make the jokes about the Navy, but sometimes group therapy was King coming in, rubbing my face or straddling me. It gave you a good laugh, though. Like, Ken knew how much I hated people touching my face. I hated when people touch my face.
I know, but I like to touch your face.
And he was the same damn way. He had to touch my face. So he would come in, he'd touch my face, and sometimes he'd sit on my lap and touch my face.
Do you remember when I used to lick your face in high school?
Yeah, I do. But you know what, though? Sometimes that's all you need, is you need a buddy to touch your face, lick your face, as dumb as it sounds. But they know what pokes you, and they do it, but it flips that switch and it lightens the mood.
Right.
And it gets your head right. And it makes you realize that this isn't the end of the world. Like,
so would you say to somebody that might be going through similar situations to find other people that understand because they've gone through
and to lick their face? Yes.
No. Well, I mean, and to lick their face, yeah, sure. No, but
yes.
Do you think that if they found like a group of people, or at least one other person that's going through something similar, that start talking to them,
or who has recently been through it? Maybe they're not going through it still, but they've come out on the other side. And it's still fresh enough that they know the pain as it is.
Right.
When you're 10, 15 years down the road from the pain, your perspective changes.
Well, yeah, because you've learned a whole bunch of other set of skills and coping mechanisms that might not make sense to somebody that's just going through it.
Yeah. And not that those aren't as valid and don't need to be heard, but at that point in time, you need that fresh. You need somebody who really still feels the pain. Sometimes. Not everybody does.
So, do you think the company of misery can make that misery less?
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, we had a freaking blast. I mean, we had so much fun before. I mean, we had our shitty moments, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But man, when we go into port, there would be times where I'd call and I'd get no answer, man. I'd stop, and I had a laptop. I'd have to sit down, connect to the Wi-Fi, because I didn't have a smartphone yet, because I'm a dinosaur.
You were broke.
Well, no, I'm a dinosaur. She had her smartphone.
Technology for you has always been...
I'm not it.
No, you're not.
No. So, in fact, I still want a flip phone. Like, I want to get rid of the smartphone so bad. But, so, I had
Not surprised.
I had a computer, and I'd have to sit down, open it up, power it up, connect it, all that shit. Right? Everybody else on their iPhone, they just, yeah, okay. They didn't answer, they'll call me back whenever they call me back. It wasn't like that for me. You know, I had to stop. And there'd be times where I pull a point, I might get to talk to them one time, and it'd be a phone while they're in the car. You know, and, but they were real good about, you know, we'd sit down and I try to get my shit powered up, get it all up, try to get them on the phone, and then, you know, nothing would happen. And I'd just kind of start to go to, you know, man, I just really want to see my kids.
Yeah.
And,
So when stuff like that happens, like, what kind of mindset do you think your mind starts playing games on you?
oh yeah,
Starts filling in all the blanks with
what are they doing?
totally irrational shit.
Some of it was proven to be rational.
Oh,
But that's
another story.
Yeah, we'll leave it at, we will leave it at some that was proven to be rational.
We'll leave it there.
But
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but yeah, so they were real good about, you know, when we'd pull on a port, if that would happen, I couldn't get home, and they were real good at snapping me around. I mean, sometimes it was just straight debauchery. Sometimes it was, you know, we'd just go sit out by the pool. But most everything where we were was casinos. And, yeah, I mean, I like to play a little blackjack, but I'm not a real big gambler. Like, that's not really my scene. So, we'd play a little blackjack, and then, you know, we'd go to the pool or whatever, but, or we go find a gym at the hotel, and man, we would just beat the crap out of each other. Or me and Ken would get incredibly drunk, hopping,
Bed together?
No, we did what we called stoop drinking, or stoop hopping. So we go sit on stoops outside of the front of the house, and we drink with whoever was on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
That sounds fun.
Didn't understand anything they were saying because, I mean, we didn't speak Spanish very well. Spoke a little bit, enough to kind of poke fun at each other with the people that we were drinking with, but not enough to really know what was going on. So, and
so where were you when this was going on? Where were you?
Primarily Panama.
Panama.
Yeah. So Panama was the only port that we really got to pull into where we could talk.
Okay.
The other ones we didn't. You couldn't really talk much. You could email, but that was about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did. I guess Manzanilla, Mexico. You could talk there, but Panama was like our home away from home. So you pulled in there all the time, and then we did El Salvador and Guatemala, but those were fly-ins. The boats didn't really pull in. Colombia.
So basically, you were making sure drugs didn't come to and from the United States. Got it.
Yeah, it was all
Counter narcotics in the U.S. Navy.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, a little odd, right?
That is weird. Where's the ATF and
the
CIA and all this?
I mean, they have their place down there, but as far as on the water, and the Navy can't work as a policing unit.
Right.
So you have to get what's called a leadet from the Coast Guard. And the Coast Guard can work as a policing unit. So anytime you would fly, you would have a leadet guy in the back with you. You would have one guy on comms, and then you have a shooter. And so your shooter, he would typically have his Barrett 50 with him. And then he would have his little, what was it, M16, I guess he had. But, yeah. So then we would usually fly mounted with a M240 on the back, and those were for your warning shots. So you'd fly in, and if they wouldn't stop, you'd call them over the radio, everything, try to get them to stop. If they didn't stop, you lay down warning strips with the M240. If they still didn't stop, then they'd pull the 50 out. They'd put them off the nose, a couple warning shots. If they still didn't, a couple warning shots off the back. Still didn't, and then shoot out the engine. And then, I mean, it's over at that point.
Right. They ain't going nowhere.
No, they're DIW, they're done. So, yeah. But a lot of times,
dead in the water.
A lot of times they would try to kick motors overboard and stuff and sink the drugs and try to, act like, oh, we have nothing.
We didn't have nothing.
Really,
Even though you
guys?
were shooting at us and we didn't stop, we don't have nothing.
You had so much cocaine that you floated a 225 horsepower tiller driven motor. Like, when you tie off a 225 to a bundle of coke and it floats the motor, it's a lot of freaking cocaine. That's a whole lot of blow. So,
did you ever experience anything while you were doing that was a little bit kind of far off, that kind of made you, I don't know, go like, what the fuck am I doing?
no, man, I had a blast.
You had a blast?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I really did.
Did you ever get shot back at, or you ever see any type of combat?
No, we did have, there was another guy prior to me, not out of my squadron. He was, let's say he was the East Coast guy, but they had video of it all, because all this goes, you're videoing, all the video goes back to Miami and all that and gets reviewed, but he did have to lay down fire with the M240 as suppressed fire, because the guys were in the boat shooting at the helicopter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was the only one that I know of who ever did that. So, I mean, usually helicopter boat.
Yeah, the helicopter's gonna win every time.
Yeah.
Would that have been something you think might have fucked with your head a little bit? I mean, because you're literally, at that point, you're fighting for your life.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean,
is it one of those things you won't know until you're actually
yeah,
there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're all prepared to do it, but at the same time, even though you're prepared to do it, doesn't mean you're prepared to deal with it.
Right. That's, you know what? That is a good saying. Just because you're prepared to do it does not mean you're prepared to deal with it. That I think can be, that saying right there can be employed and adopted by any and all civil service, and would be great for the general public to hear.
Yeah.
Just because we're trained to deal with it doesn't mean we're trained to deal just because we're trained to do it doesn't mean we're trained to deal with it.
Think about how much all these cops are going through right now, and the shit that they're dealing with.
Speak up just a little bit.
The things that the PD is dealing with now, and the things they're going through, and the retaliation that they're getting. Say retaliation, what are we really retaliating against? But still, you know what I mean. Like they're having these people treat them like crap, yet they're prepared to put their life on the line
for the people that are treating them like crap.
For the people that are treating them like crap. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that they're prepared mentally and emotionally to deal with the trauma that comes along with that.
Right.
So you get these people attacking them, they turn around, they take care of business, and then at the end of the day, they have to go home and live with the fact that they took care of the business. And it doesn't mean that they're mentally prepared to do that.
It's something that I've always said is like, we're human first, right? We're humans. We're normal human beings that do an abnormal job. Normal human beings that do an abnormal job.
Think about the percentage of the population that is willing to do the job, either as civil service or as military.
Right.
Very little of the population is willing to do that. Sorry, that was probably very loud.
Yeah, that's all right. No, very, very much so. And as a matter of fact, I just watched a documentary that the the recruiting levels have gone down. The recruiting numbers have gone down.
Oh, they've
tremendous. They've plummeted. Not only that, retention has gone down significantly. And if the numbers continue to go the way they're going, we are not going to be the most powerful.
We're very quickly headed out of that.
Yeah.
Not only that, we're lowering standards for people who do these jobs. That standards are there for a reason. Mm-hmm. And it was always preached that if the letter's in red, it's because it's written in blood. They're not in red just because.
And by written in blood means somebody had to sacrifice something for this to
become the rule that it is.
Rule. Exactly.
Yeah.
And by sacrifice something, usually it's their life.
Typically it's their life. Mm-hmm. Life or limb. And they no, I mean they're lowering the standards to accept a group of people who are not physically or mentally capable of doing the job. I know that sounds harsh. I know it is very far from PC, but it's the truth. You know, they're not physically capable of doing the jobs. They're going to recruit. They're going to decrease the standard.
Well, I don't even think it's just physically. Even now, I think now it's even mentally.
Yeah.
The mental fortitude, I think that it takes to be a soldier in any branch of the military, or even a civil service member in any branch thereof, like firefighter, police officer, EMT, nurse, doctor, stuff like that. The standard for the mental fortitude you must carry to do the jobs is they're trying to dumb it down. And the thing is you can dumb it down all you want, but war is war, and tragedy is tragedy, and blood is blood.
Do you
accidents
follow the
and accident.
PD on Facebook?
I don't. But I mean,
you
just
should.
Even
you should watch the new recruits that they're bringing in. Some of them, hats off to you, and really hats off to all of them for being willing to take that responsibility. Whether I agree with the fact that you're physically capable or qualified or whatever, that's my opinion. But hats off to you. But at the same time, if you were to take a step back and look at 5 years ago, would those people have qualified? And would those people have even been considered for the position?
Probably not. But the thing,
most of them not.
Well, and the reason why I'm saying is like you're trying to dumb it down. You're giving your soldiers in boot camp these cards that they can raise when they're
dude, that's such a freaking joke.
You know, and all this other stuff.
They get to carry their cell phones.
They get to carry their cell phones. They get to do
feelings cards,
all that other stuff, right?
Dude,
and it's just like, God forbid you're in war, people are shooting at you. You don't get to throw up a fucking card.
No.
You don't get to throw up I'm scared, where's my safe place? There is no safe place. No. You got to fight back.
Yeah.
There's a certain mental fortitude you have to have. Like when there's a fire and you're a firefighter, you don't get to choose whether or not you're going in or not.
Dude, you watch guys play that shit. Yeah, I'll be honest, man. I got kicked in the nuts one time in training, and we had training timeouts, and usually they were used for either something severe or a learning moment. Because there are learning moments where training time out, let's address this, let's learn from it. Don't fuck it up next time.
Right.
Like, there are certain situations where that's needed. Or somebody's going to be severely hurt. Dude, I got kicked in the nuts. I was like, hey, training time out. I milked it. I mean, let's face it. I was like, dude, I'm sucking wind. The guy next to me's sucking wind. I was like, I got you for 30 seconds. I'll take the ass ripping. Oh, yeah, training time out. Took my ass ripping. We went back to getting beat. But, now it's far different, man. Far different.
I don't know if I agree with the route it's taking. Now, the documentary I watched, they said, you know, like the drill instructors yelling and all that other stuff and all this, you know, trying to re-educate and retrain that individual's mind to you are now a warrior's mindset.
Yeah.
You know, it happened and it was developed during the Vietnam era when a lot of the recruits were not necessarily volunteers. You know,
Yes.
this is when the draft was happening and stuff like that. So you
And
had
a
to,
lot of them were very young.
and you had to force this mindset on them, right?
Yeah.
And so now they're thinking that their idea is that now you're having more volunteers since the draft hasn't happened in so many fucking years. You're having so many volunteers that their tactics have to change. And I'm not so sure the tactics have to change as drastically as they're making them change.
No.
Because you're still going to fucking war.
Oh, yeah.
You're still fighting back. You're still having to get
Yeah.
shot at and shoot back. You're still
Yes.
having to fight. You're still having to watch your brothers. You still have to be your brother's keeper, your sister's keeper. None of that changes. None of that changes.
None
whether
of it changes,
whether
man.
or not you're drafted or you went in voluntarily. War is war is war.
Yep.
Period. End of story. And as a firefighter, you know, for us, there's no drafting firefighters or anything like that. But once you're a firefighter, like you made the decision that if there's a fire, there is no saying,
You're going
I'm
in.
not going to go in because I'm scared,
Yeah.
while your brothers and sisters are running in ready to fight the fire. You don't get to do that.
Nope.
Right? And if you do, God help you keeping your job, because you probably won't. If everybody else thought it was good enough for you to go in, but you're the only motherfucker that thought, oh, well, it's not safe.
Yeah.
If you're the only one that thought it wasn't safe and everybody else went in and came out just fine, yeah, good luck keeping your job.
Yeah.
Right? Because there are times where you can sit back and say, hey, look, hey, you see that roof? It looks like it's about to collapse. Maybe we shouldn't go in. Okay, that is a legitimate, yeah, I'm not going to go in.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, no, I don't want to go in because I'm scared.
Yeah.
Why the fuck? Why?
Why are you doing the job?
Why are you doing the job?
Yep.
And so this
we
idea,
had a guy, dude, I will commend this guy over and over. Guy is a solid dude. I still keep up with him a little bit.
Mhm.
His name is Brian. And we were going through our training, and he had a hard time with mask clearing, which is a hang up for a lot of guys in any type of, I wouldn't say special force, but any type of specialty job. And so we're going through the mask clearing. He came up to me one day and he said, man, I feel like I am doing a disservice to anybody who I were to ever potentially be in the position to save. He said, it's not that I'm afraid to go in and save them or do whatever I have to do. He said, my fear is that I won't be capable if this were to go wrong in the situation. He said, I'm afraid I would. It was like he would get locked up under this one circumstance. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
There's one circumstance. And he was like, but if that one circumstance happens, I'm putting whoever it is and myself at danger. I don't want to put other people at danger. And, more than they already are. And so he had the self-awareness and he said, I'm going to drop from the program. And he did. And if I'm not mistaken, he became what was called surface swimmer. And they still do search and rescue, but from the boats instead of the helicopter. And good on him. I mean, he still makes, the choice to do.
He's still doing a job, but he's doing
Right.
it within his capabilities.
Correct.
And he had the wherewithal to not force
Something
that he probably wouldn't have been comfortable with.
Yeah.
Within his capabilities.
Yeah.
And that's something to have the wherewithal to know that about yourself and to be able to admit to yourself, hey, I might not be so good at this.
Oh, yeah. And physically, a dude could do any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But mentally.
he had that one block, and that was it.
But he found a way around it.
He did.
Do you that's an interesting question, though. Do you think that, I mean, you said, hats off to him, so I mean, I guess I already know the answer to it, but do you think you would have even more hats off to him had he been able to work through it and find a way and a solution for himself to figure it out?
No,
Why not?
because he had put forth. If you had watched the amount of commitment he had put into trying to work around it and figure it out, he had done what he could.
So he did try.
He tried.
Okay.
It just wasn't there for him. Like that was just his one thing. And I mean, he had tried. He had seeked out extra training. He had gone with guys who were, proficient at it. I mean, he had tried. He had given it all he had, and he just could not find a way around it or a way to fix it. And so he
just found something else that worked.
Yeah. And he still did search and rescue. He just did it in a different capacity.
Right.
So.
Well, I know, shit. We've gone down a rabbit hole and a half, but but the thing is like everything we're talking about comes to mental fortitude, right? And that all plays into your mental health and how you can overcome certain obstacles and stuff, and what you can do to overcome those obstacles. I want to get back to you though. I want to get back to now your decision to leave the military and what that was like for you, and what was the catalyst for you to make that decision.
My daughters.
Your daughters?
The two older ones, I missed the bulk of my middle daughter's life, her younger life, and between training, deployment, and then so my ex-wife did end up coming back for when I got home. She was there for my homecoming. And then she was there for 6 months, and then she left. She moved back to Texas. I was still in California. I still had 2 years on my contract. And at the end of the 2 years, I couldn't handle being away from the girls anymore. It didn't make sense to me to put a career over the girls. So I finished my commitment. I finished my 6-year obligation, and then I got out and came back to the girls.
So it was family that made you decide not to continue the career.
Oh yeah.
I guess it's a stupid question, but do you have any regrets for making that decision?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Of course not.
I mean, obviously, I enjoyed what I was doing. Do I miss it at times? Yeah, absolutely. I definitely miss it.
Do you think if the circumstances were different to where you could have been around your girls a little bit more, you'd still be doing it?
I'd have to be around all the time. I mean, other than deployment and, going off for training. But as far as when I'm home, I want to be with the girls. Right. If I were off doing training or I was off at deployment, I can live with that. But if I'm here, home port, and I'm, 4 states away from them, I can't live with that, because I'm choosing to be away from them at that point. It's not like
But you're also making the choice to serve your country.
Yeah, but still, I'm still choosing to be away from them. And I can't do that. I get, when you're deployed, you're still making the choice because you chose to maintain that career, but it's temporary. It's whatever, 6 months, 7 months, and then you're back home.
Do you think if you stayed in, they had a position for you here at home around the girls?
They had offered. There was a recruiting job, but when you're recruiting, I mean, you're gone. I mean, more than not. Right. I mean, you're chasing the recruits, and my dad and I were starting up the company, and we had made the decision that we were going through with that. And so I felt like, I had the financial aspect taken care of. I didn't need to worry about that. So I turned down the recruiting and went full bore with the construction company instead.
Which takes me into
The
our
next saga.
next saga.
Yeah,
Because
I
that
thought I'd just toss you that bone.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Uh,
it's, bro, man. I knew about everything, right? But even I'm learning some stuff now because I mean, like you said, during that time we didn't talk a whole lot. There were certain things that
some
happened,
things I just
some
don't
things that didn't happen.
share typically with anybody.
Well,
I mean,
but that's true. That's true. And just like me, there's certain things that even it doesn't matter who you are. There's just things that I deal with on my own, and so on and so forth. But even without that aspect, we shared a lot. You and I have shared a lot. Our life. I mean, like I said, at times, if not more often than not, you're closer to me as a brother than even my own brothers.
oh yeah.
And
One story before we get into that. Have I ever told you about the guy who shit off the edge of the boat?
who shit off the edge of the boat?
Yeah.
I'm imagining that happens more often than not.
No. This is off one of the boats we busted. And dude, we had it on infrared camera going back to the ship, which was going back to Miami. So it was super awesome. Yeah. No, I mean, we busted this boat and we went through a full dance card, shot out motors, all that. And so Coasty shoots the motors out, and then oh boy, as soon as the boat dies, man, he's reaching, grabbing. This guy gives him a roll of toilet paper. We got all the infrared. He hangs off the side of the boat and unloads, man.
They scared the shit out of him.
Obviously, yeah, literally. Obviously, it's hot, so it picks up on the infrared very clearly what is happening, and it's going back to the ship and back to my. Yeah, that was. Yeah, that was awesome.
No.
So, anyways,
so there are some funny stories. In the
there are
job that
some
you're doing.
hilarious stories. Yeah. So, anyways.
You come out and you decide that no more military because you want to be closer to the girls. You come back home, which we were all fucking glad. We were all glad that you came back home. But you got into business with family.
I did.
Now,
for the good and the bad.
For the good and the bad. Now, we always hear you never mix business and family.
Yep.
You never mix love and business. Basically, business, like, you can mix love and family. You can mix family with... I mean, your wife. Your wife and your kids.
Fair. That's fair.
Not sexually.
That's fair.
But, like love can be tied in with family.
Yeah.
Family can be tied in with play. Yes. Stuff like that. But business and work seems to be like the only thing you do not bring anything from the outside in.
Yeah. No.
You decided to... No, we hear about it all the time, though, right? Like, we hear, like, Johnson & Sons or Smith & Sons and whatever, right? So, like, it becomes a family business. And we hear that stuff happens quite often. Probably not as often as we think. For a good reason.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to...
Time out.
You need to piss again?
Training time out.
You need to piss again. Jesus Christ, dude. All right, this part I'm going to edit.
I know, I'm sorry.
Hey, how shriveled is your weenie right now because of how cold it is? My fingers are cold. I don't have proper blood flow. Oh my god. No. I'm not going to let you touch me after you just touched your ding-a-ling. Oh my god. Let me touch it to pull it out. Yeah, the little... Shriveled up enough that the tab holds it up. Oh God, no! Oh God! Shit, that's disgusting. Okay, yeah,
Oh,
they're
they
cold. I just got your penis hands on me.
Okay.
You
So
and your
back to
fucked
story
up
time.
strong hand.
Fucker. All right. So anyway,
So you decide to go into business with your dad, which backstory, real quick backstory. Your dad has always been in construction, and he's owned several businesses in construction.
yeah.
He decides to open a construction business with his sons, you and your brother.
Oh no,
Not at the time. It was just you two.
Just me and my dad.
Yeah. And what possessed you to say yes to that?
Yeah, I had worked under him for a very long time. I mean, I was 13 or 14,
Mm-hmm.
and helping him on little side jobs and stuff. And then, uh, once I went into college, every holiday break, every summer break, I was home for the most part. I was
Yeah, I remember that.
working under him. To the extent, he was project manager, then there was a superintendent. So really, I worked for the superintendent, but he
owned the company.
No,
he didn't own that company.
He was very involved though,
Right.
and he was always at the jobs, and they for sure do not take it easy on me because of that. But very much the opposite. But I had been working under him and quit a couple times and been fired. I think only once. I think he fired me once. But yeah, fired epically quit epically a couple of times. But I felt like we had kind of, as I had aged a little bit and matured, and my hot headedness had cooled some. Some. It's still not all the way cool.
No, it's still not all the way.
Very much not all the way cool. But it cooled some. And I thought, if we're going to do it, now's the time to do it. I had kind of been coming to the end of the one career, and I felt like I was in the right mindset to take something big on.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad had been wanting to do this for a very long time, a very long time. So I thought, what better time than now? He's getting closer to the age of being ready for retirement, and I'm coming into a point in time where I really want to be there for the girls. If we're running our own company, we can kind of flex some to where I can be there for the big things. They have a school performance, or they have, whatever, donuts with dads. I can flex my schedule and coordinate to be there for those things, and that I had missed so many of those. That was a very important thing to me, right, then and now. So that was kind of the driving
deciding
force
factor
behind it.
So you get into business with your dad, and you guys start this construction business. How did that go?
Well, for a brief period.
Yeah, for about a year. For about a year, it actually went pretty well.
It did.
For about a year, it went pretty well. I'll say that.
We for about a year, we were trucking along. We were doing good. We had some pretty good projects under us, and I was at the point where I was needing an increase in income, and there were some differences of opinions there, and I got to where I couldn't keep sitting on that any longer. Like I needed to part of the agreement and the arrangement was, in order to start the business and get it going and be able to keep expenses low, I would take a minimal income and live. He had a very nice house down the water, and he had a space down there that technically by code should not have been inhabited. However, we built it out as an efficiency apartment, and I lived down in the efficiency apartment, which was nice. It was a nice setup. I mean, hell,
It would have been like a 1-bedroom studio in New York.
dude. It was a bachelor pad, though.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you were on the water. We had underwater lights off the back porch. I could go out
Fishing anytime you want.
Fishing anytime I wanted, day or night. The boat was right there. I could drop in and run around the corner and go duck hunting on the bay, and I mean, it was a sweet little setup. But it was a bachelor pad. That wasn't the phase of life I wanted to be in.
Right.
I wanted my own place. I wanted room for me and the girls. I wanted them to be able to have their own rooms, and like I had when I was in the Navy, living out in California after Ashley left. I always maintained a 2-bedroom apartment. So when they were with me over the summers, they had their own room. They had their own things. Yeah. So it was supposed to be temporary. And so I was ready for that increase in pay, and like I said, differences of opinions, and so I decided I was going to start looking elsewhere, and I got my teacher certification, and then I started preparing a packet for PD, actually.
Yeah, I remember that.
PD and Sheriff's Department.
Yep, I remember that. You were getting ready to do that, and then something happened.
Get fingers. Yeah. So
show him your strong hand.
This is my strong hand, guys.
That's
fingers
a
are a little
strong
crooked. So I was doing some cabinetry work, and actually it was a Friday. I was supposed to propose to my new wife, Angelica, on Saturday. So one day away.
Yeah, which was something else you didn't tell me about until later.
And I was going to be picking up the ring and then proposing. Mm-hmm. And all on the same day. Had it all
planned out.
I had to postpone picking up the ring. I also had to postpone the
proposal.
I think I had postponed picking up the ring. I may not have. I may have already had that.
You postponed quite a bit, because I remember exactly the day. The day me and Brian were out hunting in Alazan.
Yay.
And Mom called me.
Yeah.
Mom called me and said, "Hey, Christopher's in the hospital." She left me a message because we were out in the field, and I didn't get the message until on my drive home. I checked my message when I finally get service, and it's Mom. She's like, "Hey, Christopher's in the hospital. Give me a call when you can." And I'm like, okay, she doesn't sound too freaked out. So I called her back, and the first thing I said is, "What did that dumbass do?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Yeah, I think his hand is chopped off or something like that." And I was like, "What? What happened? You're what?" And I was just like, "But he's okay. Like, he's alive. Yeah, he's alive. He's fine. But his hand's pretty messed up." And I'm like, shit. So a couple days later, the family comes to visit you. Me, Melinda, and the kids come to visit you in the hospital, and I get pictures sent to me, and I'm like, holy fuck. Your hand was literally split in half.
Yep. The idea was Monday morning I was going to take off work and go talk to PD and Sheriff's Department.
Yep.
And get a better idea of what I'm lacking in my packet so that I could submit all the paperwork. And, not be missing something when I did. So, I mean, it wouldn't have been an official submission of a packet that day, but it was there. It was around the corner.
Right.
But yeah, so Friday, table saw flips over, takes a couple fingers, nicks a couple others. My dad, who does not do well with blood at all, very opposite of myself. I call him, and I end up, I got on my knees down at the end of the driveway because I started feeling a little lightheaded. And call my dad. He came up, got me, flew to the hospital. I remember looking at him. We're flying through one of the red lights. And I said, Dad, swear to God, if you kill me on the way to this hospital because you're running these red lights, Angelica's going to bring you back to life and kill you again. So he gets me to the hospital. And, yeah, so they do all their magic and voodoo and put my fingers back together. And, yeah. Then,
well, I mean, they tried. They did their best.
They did pretty good, though. Gotta give it to them. I mean, for what they had to work with.
Yeah.
I did not leave them a whole lot to work with.
I mean, so. Except for one that looks like you sound.
It does. Yeah. Savannah calls them my dinosaur fingers. Dude, dinosaur, Daddy.
Your dinosaur finger?
Yeah, so we get the light. You do like finger puppets on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's a dinosaur finger on the ceiling. Yeah, because it looks like a little T-Rex.
Let me ask you something.
Or
when
Brontosaurus, one with a long neck, huh? Yeah, that little guy.
Yeah, I just call him long neck.
Yeah. But anyways.
Let me ask you something, man. When that happened, when you realize, like, holy shit, there goes most likely my chances, what kind of mindset did that put you in?
Dude, I didn't even know how to.
I remember how upset you were just thinking about, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to draw on a bow again.
Yeah, that was one of my bigger things. I was afraid that my way of life was going to be completely altered as far as my hunting, my fishing, my lifting. You know, that was a big concern because those are all my outlets. I mean, that's it. You know, that's how you kind of deal with whatever life has thrown me. I go and I sit and I think, or I beat the hell out of myself in the gym, and you know. So yeah, but no, I mean, after I got over the initial like, what the hell, man, I found comedy in it pretty quick.
Well, yeah, you had friends like me, and
yeah, and then I had my buddy Cody. He sent me.
Yeah,
it was my right hand that was jacked up, and so he sends me a cake. Sends me a piece of cake, and he had the guy delivering it write me a note, and the guy delivering it said, "No, man, I'm not writing that note. Because, man, seriously, listen to me. Write the note." So he had on there, "Sorry, man, they ran all out of left-handed forks." You're such a dick. But, hey, dude, he tipped the crap out of that server because that server did too, man. The guy running it, he wrote the note and had it real big, and I give the guy, he actually had a really pretty handwriting. But anyways, yeah.
Not like you anymore.
No, never did.
Well, then it might have helped.
Yeah. So.
Oh man, we gave you so much shit.
Yeah.
Do you think? But when you found out that your prospects for becoming a PD officer were kind of shot at that point, like, how did that make you
feel? So, haven't told a whole lot of people, but I ended up submitting a packet anyways.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. I waited. I went through physical therapy, occupational therapy, all that crap. And then I went ahead and I applied anyways. I had a citation on my record from California, and I had to have 7 years after it before I qualified. And I was at 5 years, and I passed the mental aptitude 2 tests. I passed the physical test. I passed everything. And then they called me and said, hey, man, just so that you know, like, you're 2 years shy of qualification. And they said, when that 2 years is up, I'm urging you to apply again. And things change. You know, at the time, I really wanted to do PD, and I mean, part of me still does. I want to serve. I want to do. I want to contribute to the community around me, and yeah, I feel like PD is a way that I could do that in a manner that I'm somewhat familiar with. But at the same time, with the way things have gone, both in the world and in my family, I don't feel like that's the right place for me anymore. Yeah, I feel like there's other ways that I can serve the community and have a greater impact than that. And that's part of why becoming a part of the nonprofit was such a big deal, and then the food truck was such a big deal. I know a lot of people think, well, how are you going to show the community with
a food truck?
It seems.
Well, yeah, well, and that kind of takes us into what's going on now, and what we are doing now. And before we get into that, real quick, I want to say thank you for sharing everything you have. There's some things that I've learned for being as close to you as I am. It's crazy that I'm learning new things and stuff like that. But before we jump into what's going on now, I do want to bring up the phone call I made to you. When I was going through, it was 2 phone calls. One from Melinda, my ex-wife.
Yes.
And then about a month or 2 after that, I called you.
Yeah.
I kind of want to. The reason why I want to bring it up is I want people to get a perspective of someone that is the person that's being reached out to, not necessarily the person that's reaching out. Right? I was the person that was reaching out.
Yeah.
And you were the person that I was reaching out to, and I never at that point in time, I guess it's not really on my mind, but I never really stopped to consider how it would have affected you, and that's not really fair. But now that I've gone through everything and I'm doing a lot better now and everything else, I think it's fair and a good time to hear your side of the story and how it made you feel and what kind of perspective you have on it. Helpless. So the first, let's take it from the first time. So the first time you get a call is from my ex-wife. I don't know exactly what she said because I was in my head. There was no me understanding what was going on.
No. And she basically said that she needed help. She needed somebody there. She didn't know that the only person she could think of to call that would be able to really make any kind of impact without calling your parents, because at the time she wasn't ready to get your parents involved yet, both for you and for her. And I mean, I couldn't imagine coming from her side of things. That'd be one I'd like to listen to be honest. But coming from her side of things, trying to figure out how to prevent things from escalating further.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you call? I mean, really, who do you call?
I do gotta say thank you to her for not calling the police, because that could have done a lot of damage to my career.
That was one of her first statements, was that she did not want to destroy your career. And she felt like if she called anybody related to the fire department, that was it. You know, she was afraid they'd report you, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she did not want that. And
see, I didn't know that.
yeah. But from my standpoint of it was, I mean, what do you do? You know, like, I don't know how to help you. So, her and I talked briefly, very, very briefly, and I said, I'm on my way. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, but I'm on my way. And she said, I don't want to call the fire department. I don't want to call PD. But do you think I need to? I said, I don't know. You're there. You tell me. And she said, you know, I'm not going to yet. It's on the table, but not yet. So I flew over there, and actually, my wife and I, when it all was happening, we were somewhere else, and I told her I gotta go, and I can't remember how it all played out with her getting back home, but or if I dropped her off, it was all kind of a blur. But while she was understanding, she was understanding, she was concerned, but at the same time, she was like, someone's gotta give. Like, we've gotta either help him get checked in somewhere, or not like a give up, but get him checked in somewhere. We need to get him like real help. And it was coming from a place of love and caring, of like, we can't keep, like, because we had other talks about other smaller things where you had flare-ups, and either you would call me or Melinda would call me.
Mm-hmm.
I would talk to you or talk to Melinda and kind of, bounce ideas around, like, hey, like, how do we...
What do I need to do?
Yeah, what do we need to do? And I think Angelica was very much on the right mind frame of, look, we're not qualified to deal with this. Like, we don't know how to handle this. We need not just you, but we need help. Like, either we need somebody to tell us how to handle it, or we need for you to go and get professional help.
Right.
And she was right, 100%. But anyway, so I drove over there, and Mom and Jose ended up getting called over there anyways. So I was over there. They were over there. We talked.
When you saw me in that state, because to be honest with you, I got to be honest with you, I just remember bits and pieces.
Yeah.
I don't remember the entire thing. I remember putting the rifle. I remember threatening, not even threatening. I remember just saying it would just be easier to do this way. It'd just be easier. I remember
that was the repeated phrase.
I remember being in the corner. And then I remember smoking a lot of fucking cigarettes.
Yeah, we got you into the backyard. We got the rifle away from you.
Well, I think the rifle was away from me by the time you got there.
It was.
Yeah.
But there was still a pistol that you had.
I didn't know where it was.
Forgotten about. Yeah,
I didn't know where it was. I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
It wasn't where I usually leave it, but apparently it was where I usually leave it.
Yeah.
Which it didn't make sense to me, because like I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. but it was where I always kept it.
I think it was tucked under something.
Mm.
But yeah, so we got you into the backyard, and then I told Jose, yeah, I think your mom might have been in there at that point, or it may have been your mom and Jose was outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Melinda, I said, get every firearm that he owns and get it into my vehicle. So they did. They got them all in. They didn't touch them. They didn't unload them. They didn't do anything. They didn't drop mags, but they got them into my vehicle. And I took them home with me. But while we had you distracted in the backyard, we got everything into my vehicle so that we could get it out of.
See, I had no idea.
Your possession.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't know what was going on.
It was done very subtly and very
discreetly.
Yeah.
But even still, I think towards the end, I probably would have been like, okay, I understand. And then even afterwards, well, shit, I didn't even pick up my gun for almost a year.
I know. But we didn't even want to give you the opportunity to think about it.
Right. At that point in time, which made sense. But like at that point, I even told myself, like, I don't want a firearm around me.
Yeah.
Until I know that this will not be an issue again.
Yeah.
And shit, you held on to my rifle and my pistol for over a year.
You just got your pistol back.
I just got my pistol back maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I just got it back.
Yeah.
And I mean, that happened over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was over a year. You know, and the only reason why I got my rifle back was because we went hunting.
Yeah.
That was the only reason why I got my rifle back.
Yep.
And
the pistol, I was ready to give it back to you for a while, but I wanted to wait for you to ask for it.
Right. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I guess with all that was going on, and for everybody listening, you guys are hearing a very detailed story as to what happened. And that was, this scenario is what I would consider was my rock bottom. It was my, that was my rock bottom.
Yeah.
That was my, okay, something needs to change. Something's going on.
It still took about a couple months for it to really change.
Yeah, it did take a couple months because I ended up hurting myself, cutting my arm.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But I mean, that was like, let me rephrase. That was like the beginning of my rock bottom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that was me scrounging at rock bottom, trying to claw and everything else.
Yes.
That
you were in it.
I was in it. It was bad, and you would think somebody that like, listening to me now and how I talk about it now, even I can't believe how far I've come.
No.
From where I was at. Like, even I can't believe how much I understand now, and realizing that it was a brain chemistry issue, and a what happened to me when I was a younger issue, and the
I think current stressors.
Well, at that time, current stressors. I mean, my marriage wasn't perfect, you know, and as awesome as Melinda was, and the parts where she was awesome, for our relationship, there were other parts that just were not. They were not compatible, and it's okay that they weren't. It just they were not good for me. I'm not trying to say that she is bad in any stretch of the imagination. They were just not good. We were just not good for each other at that point in time.
Yeah.
We were good for each other for almost 13 years, 12, 13 years. But there was just something else that just needed to change.
Yeah.
But I guess with all that being said, I kind of want to get, how did you feel about it? Not how did you feel about me?
Helpless.
How
really, it was, how do I have no clue. I mean, I was clueless, but it was, I don't know, just had to stop and just put aside the feeling of what the hell do I do and take care of the immediate threat, the immediate issue. And then from there, it was just ride the roller coaster, man. Yeah, I know it sounds like evading the question, but really there was no. I mean, I was, there was the emotion of, man, where are we wrong that, my brother feels this way? Where are we, what can we do different to show him that, there are other options? What are to show him that we're really, truly there for him? But, yeah, I mean, there was a roller coaster. There was no set emotion. Every hour could give you something different. I mean, there was no.
Do you think
you didn't know how you were handling it?
I didn't know how I was handling it myself. Do you think it was fair to be put in that situation?
There's no fair in life. It doesn't matter. There's no fair in life. Did it suck? Yeah. But at the same time, I'm glad that I was able to be there in that situation. Because at least I was there for you while you went through it. I would rather me be in that situation and be there for you than not be there for you and have a different outcome. So, no, I don't think it was unfair. I don't. Did it suck? Yes.
I'm sorry I ever put you in that situation.
I mean,
and for everybody listening, yes, I'm getting a little emotional. I'm trying not to. You don't realize how much your mental health can affect the people you care about, and around them and everything else, the people that surround you. You don't realize that not only are you going through all this pain, but the people that care about you are going through a certain type of pain in that they feel like they're helpless in helping you. And that's it sucks, but the fact that you guys have the fortitude and the people that in their life that really care about you, that do feel like lost, that do feel like helpless, like what the fuck do I do, but still show up. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck do I do? But you still show up. That means a lot. It means a lot. It means like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm going into it anyway.
I don't know if what you're doing is making a difference. That's the hardest part. Is that, yeah, I'm here, but is it doing any good, or is it just doing harm? And
so, what would you say? What do you think? I know what you showing up did for me, but what do you think when you showed up and then end up leaving? Do you think you made a difference at that point?
I do. Looking back, I do. In the moment, you may not feel like you do, but you do. And it's not until later that you're going to realize it. But yeah, that's why I think sometimes you just have to put your thought process aside and just let go. You're not in control. You're not. As much as you want to be, as much as you try to be, you're not in control. And putting that aside and just being there, just ride the wave. I mean, really, it's all you can do. And I think, I think you have to let go and just be in it at the time.
I can tell you showing up with my parents, at the time, I might not have shown it because I was in my head and still battling whatever I was battling. It meant a lot. It meant a lot because it felt like somebody gave a shit.
Yeah.
Right? It felt like somebody other than my parents, who you would expect to give a shit, somebody other than that gave a shit enough to show up.
Yeah.
And it meant the world to me. And it showed me that even though I already knew you were my brother, it showed to me that, like, no matter what, Chris is my brother for life, no matter what. Like, this is, unfortunately, however we met, as different as we fucking are, we've built this relationship and this bond that it's hard to explain, because when people look at us, we're two totally fucking different people, bro.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We're
Yeah.
two totally different fucking people, and but yet we have this bond that I have not had with anybody else in my life.
No. You know, though, the people I'm close with are probably the people I'm the most different from, for the most part. Other than a couple of exceptions, but for the most part. Like Josh, I mean,
Yeah, you guys are pretty much almost the same.
we're very much alike.
Yeah.
Me and little gals, little short gals, we're pretty much the same. Those are the only two I could think of. The rest of us are like polar opposites.
Yeah, but I mean, you want to talk about polar opposites? Like, here's me, right? I was this little, and especially in high school,
Gothic.
I was like this gothic, Hispanic / theater / choir / football / track / all this other
you
shit.
were only slightly confused.
Only slightly confused, right?
Yeah.
But here we are. We become best friends.
Yeah.
Like the best of friends, and it's weird how that happens, because it wasn't even forced. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
It just kind of fucking happened.
Yeah.
And I think that when you go through life and you can find individuals that all of a sudden, just without even trying, all of a sudden become people that you feel like, you know what, I can't live without this person in my life. Like, there's no way. I mean, we can go a year or two without talking, but as soon, but it better not be more than that. Like,
No.
like, you know what I mean? Like,
And even then, you're gonna pick up like it was yesterday.
you're gonna pick up like nothing fucking happened, and it's gonna be like, hey brother, what's going on? What's like, tap you in the right nut.
Yeah.
And you're on the ground.
Yeah.
Like,
Still teenage boys.
Like,
Yeah.
Brother, I can't thank you enough for being a brother, for being somebody that since the day we met, just no matter what, I say we're inseparable in that. This is gonna sound corny.
I mean, you're a little
corny. You know how soulmates and are.
Oh, you're calling me a soulmate? Oh,
You motherfucker.
You want to husk your corn?
Hey.
Hey. You dirty boy.
Hey. You know what? Pull down your pants and run backwards through a cornfield. No, the term soulmates means, like, there's people in your life that come into your life, souls that they're meant to be there to make you a better individual.
You can say you want to cuddle with me later tonight,
brother. I'm gonna be the big spoon. What are you talking about? I'm gonna be the big spoon. Angelica can be in front of you.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
It's been the same way going the other way. I mean, you've been there for me through a lot in life. So I'm sure there's gonna be plenty more.
No, man, we still got the rest of our lives ahead of us.
Yeah, I'm only.
Bro, you better not die before me. I swear to God.
I don't know, man. I'm not making any promises. Run off, bit off.
Better not fucking die before me.
Run off, bit off, man. Yeah. Good luck.
No, seriously. You better not fucking die before me, because, like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be like, you stupid motherfucker.
I did all that dive with no hands in front of my head. Going for it. Yeah.
Well, man, I do appreciate you sharing that, and I know it couldn't have been easy being that person. I know I've been there for you when you were fucking hurting too, and I get the sentiment of feeling helpless, but knowing that even though I feel helpless, I'm gonna. If my brother needs me, I'm here.
Yep.
I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do,
But I'm there.
but I'm here, bro.
Call me, man.
I don't know. What,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do everything I can, bro. But I don't know what you want to drink. I mean, I can find somebody to tickle your pickle. I don't know.
Something.
We can go fishing.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. Let's go do something.
Yeah.
Short of jacking you off and blowing you, I'll pretty much do anything. I've wiped your ass before. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Angelica likes to remind me that she offered to.
She did offer to.
Different circumstances.
She offered to because you hurt your hand. I actually did it.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For everybody that doesn't know, he was really, really drunk. He passed out on the toilet. Shit. Passed out on the toilet. I don't know if he vagoed out. I don't know if because he shit he passed out.
College was rough. I was dealing with a lot.
But I was such a brother to you. I wiped your ass. I wiped your ass.
Yeah.
Pulled your pants up and put you in bed.
Yep. I was not dealing with life well at that point. But anyways.
Well, we just admitted that to the world.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna start winding it down. I know the fire's starting to die down, and we've been talking a lot. But usually, I end the show with 3 questions. And they can be one-word answers. They can be another 15-minute conversation. Doesn't matter.
All right.
But the first question I have for you is, if in this life that we've lived, and that you've lived, if you can go back knowing what you know now, if you can go back in time, would you? And would you change anything?
I would not go back. I would not change anything.
Why not?
I believe that the things we go through are there for a reason. I believe the decisions that we make are for a reason. They're all to lead us to something. And I believe that I would not be in the place I'm at now in doing the things I'm doing now if it were not for those decisions. Even the trouble I got into, I think it was to lead me into a certain path. So I wouldn't change anything.
You wouldn't change anything.
Wouldn't change anything.
Do you think that's like a religious thing, or do you think that whole things happen for a reason?
Somewhat, yeah. I believe that God had a plan, and I believe that I was meant to go through those things for a reason, whether it's to guide somebody else or it's to just put me where I am.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, that's a pretty normal answer I get. I think most people, they're like, no, I wouldn't change anything because then I wouldn't be where I am and I wouldn't be who I am now.
Yeah.
I remember I was asked that question, knowing what you know now, would you go back in the past and change anything? And I was like, that's a really hard question because if I go back knowing what I know now, my life can be so much better.
Or worse.
Or worse. That's
Or
true.
worse.
That's true because we wouldn't know the outcomes of the choices that we would make with the knowledge that we have now. That's
right.
true. Very, very fair. However, I would like to think I would not make the same mistakes.
Yes.
Right? But that doesn't mean other mistakes wouldn't have happened.
Yes.
So that's fair enough. Fair enough. I get that.
Opens up for a whole
nother world of mistakes.
Yes.
So I get that, but even then,
round 1, let's not do round 2.
Even then, I would say I would live the same exact life. And the reason why I said it's a hard question because I told him, I was like, well, that's a hard question because I know what I went through, and you're asking me if I would live that life again, knowing what I've lived through and what I've had to endure, and basically, would I endure that again, or would I have the power to not endure that again? Even if I had the power to not endure that again, who knows what else I would have had to endure.
Yep.
Would have been better, would have been worse. Who the fuck knows?
Yep. There's no telling.
There's no telling.
So
The only thing I can,
take it for what it is.
only thing I can do is try not to make what happened happen again.
Yes.
But there's no guarantee that it wouldn't.
Nope.
And there's no guarantee that something worse or better would happen.
Nope.
So might as well just stick with what I have, be grateful for what I am and who I am and what I've been given.
Yep.
And continue moving forward.
Yep.
You're just like, sure, yeah, whatever.
No, I'm right there. Hey, I've made enough mistakes. Why open up for round 2? I mean, let's face it. Odds are I'll probably make a bigger mistake round 2 than I made round 1, even though I'm wiser. Odds are I just won't do it right.
Yeah.
So,
probably. Yeah. Well, knowing you, odds are probably very, very strong that you wouldn't do it right.
Take some mistakes I made and just
leave them as such.
Leave them as they are.
Leave the mistakes I made as such.
Yep.
Oh, it's about to get really smoky because you got all this mossy wood. But the thing is, we can still see it. The smoke isn't all that thick through. See, look, you see it right there.
Strong
it's not too
hand
bad.
wave.
Huh?
Strong hand wave.
Strong hand wave.
All right, brother. My second question for you is: do you have any questions for me? Very simple.
There's one thing that you were to impart on your kids so that they have any piece of wisdom going forward.
Say that louder,
for your kids, if you were to impart anything on your kids to give them any sort of wisdom moving forward, what would it be? Zor knows the world that they're living in is way different.
If there was wisdom that I can impart on my kids now,
that maybe I wish I would have known, is to realize that fear is nothing but a construct of ourselves. That we shouldn't be afraid to express who we are and how we feel to the people that we love and to the people that care about us without repercussion. And the reason why I say that is because I believe fear of judgment, of potential repercussions, keeps us from really expressing how we really feel. Fear of being judged on how we feel, fear of what the outcome might be, fear of the potential backlash of expressing how we feel. I think that is just a construct that we make up in our heads.
Mm-hmm. Most of the time, that's not how people are going.
Most of the time, it's not even how people are going to react.
Yeah.
And people will react actually more in a more respectful manner than you think.
Yeah.
And that if you can just put your feelings into words and express them in a way that people can understand, you can move so much further forward in life.
Oh, yeah. And more people are going through the same thing that you are than you realize.
And it's not even necessarily the same thing.
Going through a struggle.
A struggle, right? It doesn't necessarily mean the same thing, but they're definitely going through a struggle that makes them feel sad. They're going through a struggle that makes them feel depressed. They're going through a struggle that makes them afraid. They're going through a struggle that they're not sure how they're going to get out of.
They just haven't shared it with you.
They just haven't shared it with you. And all those things, the thing is that it doesn't matter what got you to being sad. The fact is, you're sad. other people know what being sad feels like.
Yep.
And it's okay to express that. It's okay to express that something bad happened to you.
Yep.
It's okay to express that you are not feeling good with yourself or with other people or with the situation that you're in. And there's nothing wrong with expressing that. I would seriously tell them, don't let the idea of your fear stop you from expressing who you are and how you feel. Because the minute that you do, you're suppressing a portion of who you are. And I want you to be who you are 110% all the time and unapologetically, and who the fuck cares?
I hope my girls listen to that. And Levi, little turd. No, really, I hope all 4 of my kids listen to that, because that is very well put.
I don't think that allowing fear of what potentially somebody may or may not think about how you feel, I don't think allowing fear to dictate how you act and how you express that is beneficial in any sense of the imagination. I really don't. And I don't because I did it. I allowed my fear to dictate how I acted. I let my fear dictate how I expressed myself. And it didn't turn out good.
No, not at all.
So, yeah. All right, man. Last question. I appreciate that question, by the way.
Yes.
Hopefully it was a good enough answer.
It was more than I expected.
What did you think I was going to say? Learn to shoot straight.
Something dumb.
Something
Something dumb.
dick. What a dick.
Here we are.
My last question is, you've been in the military, you've been in the civil service. The job that we do is a little bit, it's like I said earlier, we're normal human beings doing an abnormal job. We're these people that have lived through fucking tragedies and circumstances that would break other human beings. And here we are. And the show's called What Makes Us Fire. And it's not so much, what makes us firefighters. And I know the logo has the whole firefighter symbol and everything else. I'm working on that. I'm working on the logo. We're gonna change the logo and everything, but
I like it.
Well, I like the logo too, but we're gonna incorporate it to where it fits like the military and cops and everything.
I can appreciate that.
We're in the process of like we're gonna make it fit all of the above,
inclusive.
Be more inclusive for everything else. But really, what makes us fire?
PC, all inclusive. So, anyways,
y'all don't know this, but after the show, he's going to be writhing on the ground, holding his right butt, which is something that's happened to you before with a tennis ball, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Shot to the nads.
Shot to the nads, fell right back into the bushes. High school.
Anyways, how about that broken nose?
What do you? When I say what makes us fire, it's more of like what gives us that fire. What makes us? What do you think it is that pushes us to be the individuals that we are, that allow us to make the choice to choose a job or choose a profession or choose to be the type of people that go and help when others won't?
Servitude.
Explain what that means to you.
The simple heart of servitude. You have a passion and desire to serve those around you, and you get fulfillment from doing so. If I'm doing a job where I do not feel like I'm contributing to the society around me and serving other people, I feel like I am wasting my time, I'm wasting my talent, I'm wasting the time of those around me. I believe that is a fairly common sentiment of those in those professions. Obviously, it's not everybody, but I'd say it's by far the majority. Whether it be fire, PD, EMS, military, I think that it's the majority of guys feel that if they're not doing something for somebody else or for their country, then they're absolutely wasting their time and wasting the talents they were given.
But where do you think that idea came from? Where do you think that feeling came from? You think it was just God-given?
I do. I think it was God-given. Absolutely.
Well, there's no really arguing with that.
No. I mean, I don't think that's something you can teach, and I don't think that it's something... I do think that it is something that you can embolden in your kids, but I don't think it can be completely taught. I think there already has to be some of that in them for you to just build upon. But I don't think you can just take it from nothing.
I got nothing. That's a pretty damn good answer. Pretty damn good answer.
I can be smarter now and then.
Every now and then. Every now and then. Well, brother, I really do appreciate you taking the time, even though it's taken almost 2 years to get you on the fucking show.
Taking too long.
It's taking too long.
Yeah.
We will have you back on the show at some point.
Yes.
Where we can just talk a little bit more about all this stuff. Talk more about your decision to become a part of the nonprofit, the WhatMakesUsFire nonprofit. You are the board member. You are the vice president.
Yeah.
Technically. So
talk about that. We can talk about the food truck.
Oh yeah, we'll talk. Oh, speaking of which, for everybody that doesn't know, life after service. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Because I truly believe that one of my largest contributions is that. But anyway.
Yeah, after military service is what you mean. I think that we can definitely do this again. Hopefully with a bigger fire and or warmer weather.
Warmer weather.
Warmer weather for sure.
For sure.
Or we can do it inside where it does it here.
Yeah.
Because it's cold as fuck out right now.
It's pretty cold.
But for everybody listening, if you do not follow him, you can follow Chris on Instagram. You can check out all his food from Driftwood Barbecue _Texas. That's at Driftwood Barbecue BBQ. Driftwood BBQ _TX. Go follow him on Instagram. Check him out. If you are in the Houston area and you want a food truck service, by all means, reach out to him via Instagram. You can also email him at driftwoodbbqtx@gmail.com, and he'd be more than willing to. You can place an order with him. He'll send it out to you and make sure you get it.
And we do fundraisers and charities as well.
And we do fundraisers and charity events as well. WhatMakesUsFire is partnering with Driftwood Barbecue Texas. So we're more than partnering. We're basically a part of it because of what Driftwood Barbecue is doing. This was something I didn't bring up, but something that I really think was the question that I wanted to ask. Is like, what the fuck took us so long to find our passions in life? Chris's passion has always, like, growing up, you guys, whenever there was a cookout or whenever there was a barbecue, he was the cook. Every single time. And there's a reason. Because he does, like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it's only
damn, it's good.
Better.
And it's only gotten better. And so now he owns a food truck, and that food truck, he does a lot of fundraisers and everything else for charities and other charities as well. He'll be working with WhatMakesUsFire, obviously. And we're gonna have some events and everything else coming up in the future. So check that out.
Got one in March for a little boy with leukemia.
We got one in March. What was the little boy's name?
Riker.
So if you guys are in the Houston area, check out Driftwood BBQ_TX on Instagram. You can find the information for that fundraiser in March for young Riker who is fighting cancer. So yeah, leukemia is a cancer. You're like, no, leukemia.
It's specific.
It's specific. It's Pacific or specific?
Specific.
Okay, because
It's
you
not
said
an ocean.
you did say Pacific.
Well, I mean, yeah. Like I said, we speak a different language.
Yeah, we do. You guys, remember to follow What Makes Us Fire on all your social media websites. Just look up What Makes Us Fire, all one word. Check out the WhatMakesUsFire.org webpage. We do have a GoFundMe under our link tree and on the webpage. We can use your help in raising funds to get the What Makes Us Fire Foundation back up off the ground and to helping our civil service members, the military first responder, again receive that inpatient mental health treatment and supplement their income while they're getting that treatment in the future. So much love to you guys. Have fun. Stay safe. Be that change you want to see in the world without allowing the world to dictate how you see that change happen. Just be that change you want to see in the world, and I promise you the world around you will change for the better. Much love.
Good night.